Hi guys, my name's Shiels down here at Trafford Golf Centre in Manchester. Apologise about the voice, it's gone a little bit croaky. But I'm with Andy Gorman, who is putting coach, unbelievable putting coach. He's joined me today because we've just been doing the Manchester Golf Show. That's why my voice has gone. I've been doing far too much talking. And we've done part one already. If you've not seen part one, go and check it out in the link just up here. So go and check that out first. It's really, really important that you follow the steps of what we're displaying today and what Andy's talking about. It's so important you do 1, 2 and 3. Don't go skipping to the end thinking that you're going to get some super secret. You are, but you need to do 1 and 2 first.
You do, absolutely.
You need to do 1 and 2 first. Quick brief of what we have covered in part 1. We're not going to tell you how to do it. Go and watch that one. We covered the setup, we covered the natural hanging of our arms.
Absolutely.
The grip and grip pressure as well. This time we're going to talk about why it's important to have our forearms more level, and we're going to start to talk about why putters are sometimes ill-fitting.
Very much so.
And also the difference between why men would set up and ladies would set up differently.
That voice is just about holding out, isn't it, Rick? Yes. Mine's just a little bit on the croaky side, but not quite as bad. Obviously, I wasn't talking as much, Rick. But ultimately, what we're going to do today is to cover that putter fitting. It's really important we get a good putter fitting and what causes it. And these are my perceptions. There are other ideas out there. But, over all the years that I've been studying the putting stroke, Rick, it's very, very easy. It doesn't take an hour to sort the putter fitting out. It is a couple of minutes, and I profess to say it is about 3 or 4 minutes we can get this done. So it's not going to take that long on the video. We're going to do it very quickly. But ultimately, it's the lie angle of the club that's critical. So let's get into the posture position that we talked about last time and get those arms nice and relaxed. Now the hands always hang in front of the body. So it doesn't matter what kind of human being we might be, saying male or female here, all right, young or old, the arms are going to hang in the same way. So the hands and arms are always going to be in front of your shoulder line when you're hanging or standing up nice and tall. And that's imperative we get into that position when we're in our setup. Now we'll notice at that point in time that the lie angle of the club here, now this one's a little closer to 72 degrees. We've had the putter a little while. The original specification would have been close to 72 degrees. And plus or minus a degree or two,
because of
movement over time, and maybe the original specifications from manufacturers. And we've all got our variables, in terms of, what may be the ultimate tweak. But I want to get that lie angle nice and flat on the ground. So ultimately, we would maybe do a little bit of this. So we've adjusted the hand position. That doesn't feel quite so comfortable, does it?
No, not quite.
So we've got the putter nice and flat, but now the hands aren't relaxed and hanging in that position. So ultimately, it's getting into that hanging position. There's no tension in the arms, no change to the grip position here or the wrist position to get that putter to sit nice and flat. And it's a simple adjustment. We can adjust the angle of the club. Because it's a double bend shaft, we're going to work with the shaft a little bit around there. That is specialist, but ultimately we're not going to change the balance of the club by getting that balance, by adjusting that club. Other putters, which are a little bit more in this manner, or a typical blade style, are much easier to adjust because the adjustment is done through here. And we can make that adjustment through the head movement rather than trying to bend the shaft. We can tweak always tweak at the bottom of the club in this position here, but really, when we start to bend, we want to get the shaft to stay in the same place. Well, it's not going to happen on all of the putters. So that can affect how the balance of the putter sits this way as well. That's not to worry about that. The most important thing is we get the putter nice and flat on the ground.
So it's just highlighting how crucial this is.
So working with one of my players, through last year, I noticed that the putter was a little bit on the upright side, but that's because she was a girl, and our lie angle is going to be different for girls. Manufacturers make putters for men, Rick.
All right, okay.
An audience needs to be aware of that.
What about the ones with the pink grips?
Pink grips and pink paint make them men's grips with pink paint, and men's putters with pink grips and pink paint. So ultimately, the head is the lie angle, and that's the difference between the ladies and the men's isn't about the length. Sometimes I've got ladies in longer putters because of this lie angle.
All right, okay.
So the shorter club, we don't have to go with a shorter club. It may be that that's the case, if we're not, stature-wise, we're not particularly tall. But if we are tall, a man's putter's not going to do it just on length. It's the lie angle that's critical, and it's down to this carrier angle in the forearm, this angle here. So ladies have got a higher carrier angle.
Right.
So men's carrier angle is very close to 70 degrees. So the standard.
Make some joke here about shopping at you or something.
I could do, but that would get me into a lot of trouble. But actually, it's called the carrier angle, not for shopping, but for carrying the baby. So guys, you get away with it again. So, I'm sorry, girls, but the carrier angle, it's called that because of the carrying of the baby. It's to do with the tendon. It's a little bit shorter. And to tell you what's really funny, see these beefcakes that are out on the beach and they're giving it all of this. The brave man would go up to them and say to them that, you've got arms like a girl, even though the muscles are this big. But actually, as the muscle gets a little bigger, then it will impinge on that tendon a little bit, and it will just cause them to need a flatter putter. Definitely not pink. All right, so the bottom line is we want to get that putter sitting nice and flat. So, when I'm working with my tour players, I want the manufacturers to make those putters up specifically. We'll go into a lot of calculations on exactly what the angles would be, but it's simply top of the club, sitting flat on the ground. If we've got a putter of this nature, because a lot of putters have got a curve at the base. So, how do you level that off if it's completely curved? Well, typically, you'll find that there's at the top edge, so quite easy to actually work out. But ultimately, that putter to sit nice and flat on the ground, there we can see here, actually there's quite a bit of toe off the ground, isn't there? So that's something simple to work off. Get that putter to sit nice and flat, and that'll help us to keep that club face nice and square through the stroke as well. Same time, we want to get these forearms to be nice and square to the target, and they will have an effect very much on the shoulders as well. So, that's where we invented the T-stroke system to actually help, first of all, obtain the same shaft plane with the forearms, and then as a byproduct, we ended up with a piece of equipment here, very simple piece of equipment that was first and foremost going to set the lie angle with the forearms. So now we can see that the lie angle of the putter is nice and flat on the ground. The forearms and the shaft plane are matching. At the same time, I'm nice and square with my forearms at this point as well.
We are going to do a full product review on that as well, guys. I've done one before on this, and that's why when Andy put that alignment stick across my forearms were quite level compared to the first time we ever did it.
First time, I remember
it was like that.
Yeah, Rick's feedback was very commonplace to most golfers when they first pick up the T-stroke. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm twisting the putter, and that's purely because of the grip position we have with our normal club. We're a little bit more inclined to do it.
I've used this for probably about. Yeah, I think you sent me one about a year ago.
Yeah, it will be about a year.
I did a review, and at first, it was that very bizarre feeling. Now, when I've put it on, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything different. It feels like I'm doing it correctly now.
And that's testament to the amount of practice that you do with it, ultimately. So the more times you get onto it, the more times you get onto it, the more times you're using it, the easier it becomes for you.
Okay, so eyes are level, eyes are inside ball, forearms are level.
There we go. So eye line, inside of the golf ball.
Hands are relaxed.
Check the previous video as to why that is. All right, hands and arms nice and relaxed. Let's see that ball rolling nice and smooth. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good, that. Nice stroke, though. Good roll on the ball.
That distance away from the ball feels really nice.
It is, and the stroke looks so much more relaxed. And you've got good grip pressure, you've got a nice control of the club face, but the arms and the body looks really good from there. Now, once we've established the correct lie angle, Rick, we can then really get ourselves into a nice position in terms of body posture, in a good, comfortable position. We don't have to bend down all that far. We can just bending forward, letting the arms hang. We've obtained the shaft plane, and that club face is nice and flat on the ground. And stand as tall as you can to the golf ball. Don't worry about, maybe we're going to get that putter slightly longer by the end of the day, but ultimately we would actually get you, into the optimum fit from the lie angle first. So it's lie angle, then we're going to get the length of the club based on how comfortable you are in your setup position. And then the loft of the club, is the final tweak that we can do. So we've got the 3 L's there, the lie angle, the length of the club, and then the loft of the club. They're the primary things. And then, player feedback. Do you want one a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter, maybe a heavier grip or a lighter grip? All these things can change the balance of the putter, and that's something that we can just play with. Obviously. Inserts, if you like a soft feel or you like a grooved face club, and my opinions are that if we have a grooved face club, there's less material making contact with the ball, so it feels a little softer. If we do that also, that I believe that if we're perfectly flat here, we could get a dimple deflection on occasion, only on the shortest of putts. It doesn't happen on the long putts. So, it's very difficult for anybody to analyse, why a short putt gets missed, maybe off a dimple deflection, because you're just not going to be able to repeat that, every single time. You could hit thousands and thousands of putts and never get one, because they happen so rarely. But, I do believe that a little bit of grooving on the face, a little knurling or whatever it might be, putters manufacturers, they're all different. But it's down to feel on the face. I notice yours, there is that urethane insert that the Odyssey putters have, but whether it's metal or insert, it doesn't really make that much difference. It's, at the end of the day, are we executing the stroke with a nice square? Short, Rick?
I can't believe that.
Short.
It's not been good this morning.
So we've got short putts, so they never get in, but I've noticed that one. But ultimately, if we can get that ball rolling nicely, end over end, get a good roll on the ball, and from there we've got a fighting chance of getting that putt going on.
Good. Guys, that was part 2. We've covered quite a lot so far again, which is great, which is really important. Putting is so important, guys, and you've got to take these bits of advice from Andy very, very seriously, because this guy knows what he's talking about. You can check him out on Twitter. His name is Just Here. You can check him out on Facebook as well. I'll pop that there as well. We're going to do part 3, where we're going to talk about now the secret, the proper secret, the actual stroke itself. So we're going to start to dive into the stroke itself. If you've not seen, again, part 1 and you skipped to part 2 and thought, what the hell has he talked about in the grip, go and check that out quickly in the window just here. And if not, you're going to join us in part 3 very soon, and that should be in the window here now. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to figure out part 3 so I can get all of these golf balls in next time.
Not missing any more.
No, not anymore.